G'day, and how are we going? We're here at Hidcote, and wow, this has been an experience. And guess what? We got the whole place to ourselves. It's just you and me. I've been here now for about a bit over a week now, and yeah, it's been mad. It really has been. I'm the only one staying. I am actually staying in the manor house, which is just up there. And yeah, it has been. What an experience it has been. I've been working here now for a bit over a week, and it's just been awesome working with the team. It's great. Anyway, today in the video I'm going to give you guys a tour of the Hidcote garden here. Get ready, and got a few surprises in for you too. And here we go. This is sort of the main courtyard. They also got a cafe just in there. And right here, I'll just show you this. This is a lawnmower that they used to, back in the day, use. And it just tells you, like, imagine pulling that thing around. Wow, that would be insane. And look, there's a bit of info about it. Look, I arrived at Hidcote in July 1958 and at the cost of £282. Wow. And that's the same price of you buying of 1 horse, 4 cows, heaps of wheat, the wage of 198 days, skilled work tradesman. Today, it's the equivalent of £5,924, which is basically about $10,000. That's equivalent how much that was back then. That's insane. So we'll start over in the, it's so cool. I'm the only one here. There's no one else here. I've got the whole place to myself. That's insane. All right, we'll go over. We'll start in the nursery. I'll show you the glass house here, which is pretty sick. First here, this is actually the pond that they have here. It's quite nice to have all the water lilies in it, and look at all the flowers. Insane. It's funny. The other day they were telling me that they've seen a few snakes go throughout the water here just because it's been so hot. But yeah, this is sort of their glass house. Look at all these flowers. It's amazing. Look at this. Remember back at Weasley, and there was a few other places, I believe, I don't remember, that they had the grass. So it was like this. They just let the grass grow like sort of high up, then mow it. Look at that. It just sort of, it's so simple. You know, weeds right there. It's so simple, just that, you know, you can do this back home, but it's very interesting. It's one thing I've seen here in the UK, and that's not back home. But yeah, this is the glass house here, which is pretty interesting. Look, we've got a few Australian natives in here. Actually, one thing that I did the other day, which is pretty interesting, is that we actually played around with some insects. We spread it out, some beneficial insects, which then attack like your aphids and your mealybugs. So what we spread out some ladybirds, and then in there are some parasitic wasps, which will eventually come out of that tube, just in there, and they will fly out and then go all over the plants and eat all of the bad bugs, which is it's a very natural way, and very, I like that. And it's the first place I've ever worked at actually that does that, which is quite interesting. And this is their nursery in here, where I do a little bit of the propagating. Like a fair few of the plants that they replant and fix, it's all in here. They grow it and then they'll take it back out to the garden and replant it, which I was doing the other day, which is pretty interesting. We're planting some salvia and that. And this is sort of their kitchen garden, you could say. They got a lot of just veggies and yeah, a lot of veggies and stuff in here. It's pretty nice. Actually, they got a lot of raspberries, black currants over there. So I might have to pinch some of them, make some jam or something. Look, they even got like a tennis court here at Hidcote, which is pretty good. Because traditionally, Lawrence Johnson, who first got Hidcote in 1907, I believe. I'll give you a bit of backstory on the garden here. So the garden originated, it was just the manor house which was back in the 17th century. And in 1907, Lawrence Johnson, he took over the garden, he did. And he himself, he wasn't a horticulturist. he was just self-taught, and he went through heaps of books and taught himself horticulture and about plants. And he built the garden up until in the 1940s, where he was sort of age, and he approached the National Trust, which then took it over in 1947, I believe. And then since then, National Trust have had ownership of the garden, and it's been open to the public since then. But there's a lot of history in this garden, and this was actually the first garden that the National Trust ever took on, which actually I think might have been in the 1950s. I can't remember, I'd have to double check that, but yeah, wow. And these, I believe, are the long borders, or the red borders that they normally call them. And they're very nice, fully nice plants there with all your perennials. Wow, look at some of these things. Oh my god. Absolutely insane. Wow. Actually, remember I told you guys I have a surprise for you? I've got a new little gadget. And some friends back at my old work gave it to me for a bit of a farewell present. So I'm gonna roll on the clips of this new present so you can see what let's just say, get a better view of the garden. And just around here, this is the Great Lawn. So look at this, and then, oh, is he going? Oh, he's going. Come and meet Sir Mow-a-lot. So cool. It's very interesting here, working here actually. Like a lot of the equipment, like your hedges, even like your whippersnippers and stuff, they don't really use it. They like to use the more traditional methods of maintenance, really. They use a lot of hedges, use a lot of clippers, secateurs, that sort of stuff, which is very interesting. But old mate over there, he's a champion, getting the grass all mowed for us, so it's pretty sick. Just over here, this is the cafe just ahead of us, which is absolutely sick because every afternoon they have food there that they, that sort of goes out of date a little bit and then they throw out. And I call it my dinner, so that's pretty sick. Let's go in here. This is where I was actually. Oh, let's get the birds away. This is where I was actually planting the plants out the other day. So we got this little job smashed out, but yeah, how good is that? Wow. Actually, just over here, I want to show you something. There's actually a pest here, which we don't have back in Australia, which is a very serious problem actually here. And they call them moles. And what they do, they go in the ground and they sort of dig underground and they sort of leave spikes. So I don't know if you see all the damage on all the grass here. So every few days you gotta go along and just sort of press down, because what they do, they go into the ground and they pop up all the soil. Sometimes you're seeing like little mounds of soil on the grass. So that's a bit of an issue that they have here. So we're gonna fix that. So let's look at this garden. Look at that. Look at the hedging technique on that. Oh, that is amazing. And this garden here, this is the maple garden. Damn. So cool, eh? I love this. Actually, Lawrence Johnson, when he was planning out the garden, he sort of wanted more sort of areas sort of have their own little, like, I think they're called like garden rooms. So they're like their own little areas there are. So sort of like little boxes of gardens sort of all over the place here. Actually, another thing that Tom, who's sort of the supervisor and the in charge person, he actually told me that they go through and what they do here, they do a lot of air layering on plants here. You see here, little rhododendron, and they do a lot of air layering, and that one's probably been on there for quite a while, he said, for a few months. There's a lot of tree peonies that they do the air layering on, just because a lot of the tree peonies here, they're quite old. And a lot of the varieties are quite rare as well, so they have to sort of find a good way to propagate them. And they haven't sort of found the best technique just as yet. But now look at this on that. Certainly here at prime time at Hidcote, everything's in flower. Absolutely sensational. Another little bit of all the irises there. Can't remember what this area is called here, this lawn. So just over there, that's the great lawn over there. Cafe is just up through there. We came around that side. Now we're gonna go down into here. I haven't chose sort of a favorite area just yet, but I think this one might be up there. It's pretty good. Look how they've pruned that. Hell of a job up there. You'd be up there with scissors trying to cut that one. How good, look at that. See all the bloody money in there people throw in there. Might be a good idea. It's a bit cold anyway. So this is supposed to be the silent garden. And I didn't talk in there, so look at that, wait until I came out. Now onto this next area, which it's sort of a pretty big area. So when Lawrence, you can see what I mean when Lawrence Johnson was thinking of sort of garden rooms. So he had the area over there, the maple garden, one there, so different areas. So this one in here is quite big. It's sort of like a mass planting, really. Well, there's all sorts of different things, like your hydrangeas, your the hostas where the snails attacking them. Great. So there's a lot of this. There's a water channel that comes through up, actually starts at the maple garden and comes through the garden and works its way along here and keeps going down. There's a bridge down there, which I'll show you in a sec. But yeah. It's so cool. Every afternoon I'm just walking through the garden here and I basically have the whole thing to myself. Like, yeah, I've got to pinch myself sometimes of like where I am right now and how bloody cool this is. Actually, another interesting fact. See the hedges here planted here. They are actually planted 1 meter narrower each side at both ends to sort of give you that effect that it sort of comes in, it sort of draws you in and makes the hedges look longer, which I thought was very cool. So you just certainly think that when they were planting the garden out here, that they certainly thought of everything. And that stream I was talking about comes through here, under the bridge, and keeps going. It actually goes, Hidcote here, it's built on a hill, really. Because every afternoon, I'm gonna walk down to the shops, which is about a 20-minute walk down to Mickleton. And that is a killer walk back up, because Hidcote is sort of on top of a hill. And then we've got the water stream that starts up top and then goes all the way down through the garden, onwards, past the garden, down, I don't know, down to nowhere. Got no idea, haven't sort of walked around it yet. That's another thing, everywhere, we've got the cutouts of the hedges, which I absolutely love that. And now look at this. Now this is garden, I can't remember what it's called, but you can see sort of a bit of a theme going on here. A lot of euphorbias in this garden. So they'll certainly love that sort of tropical type effect, I believe. So you got the palms in here. A lot of yellow and orange in here with euphorbias are full of that colour. So I don't know. See, I quite like this one. Then you got the view into the area where we just were. Absolutely nice. Now that's that little turn circle there. And look where this. Huh. I tell you, look at that. That is beautiful. Look at the flowers in here. Look at that old smoke bush over there. I want to show you one. There's a big smoke bush. Goodness gracious, on the other side that it's well over 100 years old. And it is massive too, but we'll get to that one in a sec. Just look at this. So nice. Now this thing here I want to show you real cool. Remember those hedges that we were just talking about just a second ago? Boom. So it's certainly got a lot of the vistas that Lawrence Johnson sort of built into the garden. So where you got somewhere, which then looked through straight all the way along to where those hedges were. So he certainly planned this garden out well, and I'm getting a lot of inspiration from this. Just through there, that's the great lawn in there. And then we've got these hedges here, which would be absolute killer job to do. Well, they had a lot of work, but they just get their cherry pickers in here, that I was saying. Now this has to be probably the most peaceful area in the garden, I think. Now all these trees, these are all beech trees, and these were all planted purposely like this as well, so close to each other. And they were planted all around the same time. That's why they're all perfectly nice and straight and going straight up. But it's so peaceful. You get some killer photos in here. Actually, last Monday, so over a week ago, we had a bonfire down here in 30-degree heat. I thought they were absolutely nuts, bloody having that. But we was burning a few weeds, the weeds that you can't sort of throw in a compost, just because they're a bit, invasive they are. But that was very interesting. But this is certainly, so look at that. Pretty cool, the sheep in the background there. So peaceful out here. Now, remember the cotinus I was telling you about? Here it is, right here in front of you. How cool. This has to be well over 100 years old. You can just see. Look at that. Get right up in there. How cool is that? That is massive, the trunk. Cotinus grace is probably, Cotinus grace is the purple leafed one. This is more like the flame variety. I do prefer the other one, the more maroni purpley colour, but this is just sensational. Look at that. That has to be well over 100 years old. Wow. Now this garden next to us, this is the rock garden here. And it's pretty cool. It's sort of a new sort of area that they're sort of introduced. So it's still a bit of a work in progress, that one is. Got a little bit of a stream here. I just don't mind a bit of water. Oh, actually, honestly, you need a bit of water in the garden, I believe. There's some sort of water sound. Something about it just quite relaxing, I thought. Look at in there. Wow. Imagine when this is prime time in flower, full of flowers all along there. That is just so sick. Another little bridge, that stream, that was at that last bridge, comes all the way down here now and continues down there. And then that's sort of the border of the garden, just beyond these trees just here. But check this out. Oh. Just take it all. Look at the hydrangeas in flower there. Everything. It's funny too, even the amount of people that come out to the garden here is insane. They get them by the bus load out here. Even during the week, it is just full of people through here. Even though Hidcote, it is very rural. Like, you do have a town that's fairly close, but it is a pretty small town, to be fair. But the amount of people that come all the way out here just to see this garden, because you do have the manor house where I'm staying in, which is, you know, there's 2 or 3 of the rooms, I believe, downstairs. Because I'm staying upstairs, which is pretty awesome. My view, I've got a whole view of the garden. But anyway, 2 out of 3 of the rooms downstairs, they're on display to the public. They are, which go through and see. But Hidcote Manor here, it's more about the garden. As you can see, just how insane it is here. Everything's in flower. I'm 100% here in prime time right now. Now in here, this is probably like one of the first original gardens it is to Hidcote here. And in here are the rooms that are on display here at the Hidcote house. It's so cool to think that I'm only staying just upstairs, and these are the rooms here that are on display. There's only 2 rooms on display here, but it's so cool to think that I'm staying just upstairs. It's pretty mad. But these are the rooms that are on display here at Hidcote, which are quite nice. Really, look at that. This is where Lawrence Johnson probably would have his main office. Oh, it's got a few bit of old music going. Pretty sick, eh? Actually, one other little interesting thing that the guy named Mike that works here, he showed me this thing. I want to show you guys. It's very interesting. Show you how nature can just take over. I see this tree, it's been cut off here, and this branch has also been cut off. And it has actually grafted itself along here. How mad is that? So this plant here, I would have had another one coming off here, which would have been the main source of energy for this tree. But eventually, over time, it grafted itself. You cut off here, and now it's been transferring its energy into this. This is a different. There are 2 separate plants right there. That is mad. And actually, look up here. Over time, just that same branch going here, and this is a different one. Look at that, right there. It's grafted as well. So sometimes you gotta be careful with that though, because sometimes what can happen, that can actually rub, and then also get rubbed, and then also disease can then get inside of it, because then it sort of makes an open wound. So you be very careful with that. So a lot of time you would have to cut one of those branches off before that happens. But no. Anyway, look at this. Absolutely so cool. Probably the one I've worked in the most, and this is the pillar garden. And the reasons for that, you got all these yews just here, which have cut back quite hard because the reasoning was that they were just so big, and there was a path on the side this there, and they were just filling up, and I had to cut them back. So they cut them back about a year ago, I believe, and some of them are coming back quite well. Some of them are struggling a little bit, but they all should hopefully eventually come back. So this one right here is doing quite well. Not sure the reason why, like they're all cut back at the same time, I was told. I'm not too sure why. Some of them are just sort of struggling a bit, so not too sure why. Actually, remember I was telling you about the air layering with the tree peonies? There you go. There's one just up in there. So that is just filled with peat moss, a little bit of soil, mainly peat moss, and then wrap it around there. they can sometimes, they'll score or sort of, I don't know, damage the branch a little bit, just sort of open that cambium layer. Sometimes, most of them will put like some sort of hormone on there, then you wrap that case around the branch, and hopefully eventually that will fill up with the roots, and then you can cut just below the layer, and then yeah, you got a whole new plant there, which is pretty cool. But if we continue on here, there's everything in flower. Now, what's in this garden? So these big things here, they are actually campanulas, they are. And back home, I'm used to being like so small, you know. But these ones are absolutely massive. They get really big. So they're all campanulas. Got a few Hebes in between. And I was told a bit of history that, see these sort of pillars just here, these wood pillars, they used to be climbing roses. And these actually used to be pretty much a rose garden with sort of just perennials going along on the ground. And then unfortunately, because of COVID, it got taken over a bit by all these campanulas. But it looks really, really nice in flower here. Can't complain too much, really. And that is Hidcote Manor. Well, how good was that? That was just amazing. And my experience here working has been absolutely, it's just so cool. Even the fact that I am the only one here. Yep, no one responded. I'm the only one here. That is just insane. I have the whole garden and the house to myself. It's insane. Anyway, I really appreciate everyone watching the video. And if you did, please like and subscribe. It really helps me, motivates me to make more videos of everywhere I'm going, because the journey, it's not stopping here. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.